A 40-point quarter is outrageous. You score 40-point quarters. Come on, man. You're scoring 160 in the game. So I do buy that. If you're a Warriors fan, going, come on.
The Mismatch, presented by FanDuel Sportsbook.
I do think that there are a few things regarding how you feel coming out of this, all right? And when we can decide what's real and what's not on this. So I think if you're a Celtics fan, well, frankly, I know because I listened to Bill's podcast this morning. I think there's a couple things. Finally figured out a way they wanted to attack. We're able to weather the Steph storm, weather the crowd, and this is kind of what they are. They've got all this heart. They've got all these good players. They were able to make some adjustments. Udoka make some adjustments, and it took a long time to figure it out, but then the floodgates opened. Won this game despite Tatum being horrendous from the field. While his playmaking was great and the assists were good, he's a 3 for 17 night in his first finals game. Udoka said after the game, we didn't play our best at all in this game. And so I think you walk away and you can feel all those ways if you're a Celtics fan. On the flip side, I think if you're a Warriors fan, you sit there and you go, they shot 51% from three. I don't care if you want to talk up Derek White, if you want to talk up Al Horford, if you want to talk up all these guys. 51% is extreme. Steph was awesome. So while their best player wasn't that good, our best player was outstanding throughout this game. No way the other guys can be that bad. Draymond damn near breaking the backboard. Poole, hopefully that's first game finals, big stage jitters because he is a much better player than he performed. And then you sit back and you go, okay, look, that was extreme. That was insane what took place. And so if you want to bank on the insane taking place, then so be it. But it was 40-16. And to even hear Draymond after the game, he said they hit 21 threes. And Marcus Smart, Al Horford, and Derek White combined for 15 of them. 15 for 23 from those guys. We'll be fine. And so I just presented kind of both sides of it. And I got to be honest with you. I don't think if it's a Celtics fan telling me those things, if it's a Warriors fan telling me the things that I just rattled off, I don't think any of those are outrageous things to believe. And that's what makes this game one so great. We'll see how it plays out in game two. But of those things I rattled off, what do you think are the most salient points that these respective fan bases would feel about game one?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting the way Draymond kind of, made the 3-point success about Derek White, Al Horford, Marcus Smart. Understandably so. Those guys have all had hot games. They've had down games. But like his comment about the 41, 42 minutes that they first dominated the game, he felt they dominated the first 41, 42 minutes.
Come on.
That's not true.
That's goofy.
Yeah, that's not true.
What game was he watching?
So maybe it's
they were down 2 at halftime.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, Chris. Like I don't have the number in front of me, but I believe the Warriors were like over plus 10 in the first half in Draymond's minutes, because I remember noting it was like I thought it was strange. Draymond was like 1 for 12 from the field, and they were like a plus 10 with him on the floor at one point. And he ended as a -1, but maybe in his mind, he felt like they were dominating because when they were on the court with him, they were a big plus. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's his own perception of the way the game was going the first half with him on the court. He just didn't maybe specify that like in the post game, which understandable. You're just talking off the dome. But I think for the Warriors here,
he should have just cut it off. He should have cut it off, Kev, at 36. right? Because that's when they're up double digits at the end of the third.
But even then, they weren't dominating. Even then, like the word used to say the word dominating, they weren't dominating.
But they were at least up double digits then. When you include that other 5 minutes, the 41, when we get to 41 and 42, bro, you're including like the 10-12-0 run, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Where they flipped the game. It's like, if you wanted to say through the first 3 quarters, we had this game in hand and we fell apart, right? So we're going to be okay.
But I think the flaw in Draymond's point relates to him and Iguodala, because he's mentioning Derek White, Al Horford, Marcus Smart, the hot shooting nights that they had. Well, this is what happens sometimes when you leave those guys wide open. Like, they were helping off of Horford, they were helping off of Smart, helping off of White at certain moments in the same way that Boston was helping off of Iguodala, and they were helping off of you, like as in Draymond Green. Draymond Green and Iguodala have not proven they can have nights like this, like White can, like Horford can, like Smart can. Those guys, right now, when they're behind the arc, they're literally not a concern. But whereas the Warriors are treating White and Horford like a non-concern, even though they are. And even though they are capable of nights like this. So I think that's where, when you think about how the rest of this series could play out, that's one of the number one things on my mind is, can Horford, White, Smart, or like even if Grant Williams kind of earns some more minutes in the series, guys who are up and down as shooters, can they continue to make the Warriors pay for overplaying on Tatum, Brown, and trying to make life difficult for those guys? And if that happens, I think that's like if you're expecting Al Horford to cool off, I mean, of course he's not going to have a 6 for 8 necessarily, but even if he has a 2 for 8 night or a 2 for 4 night, Horford on fresh legs, I mean, that dude he looks like he's 24 years old out there, man. He looks fresh, and so I think for the Warriors,
you will admit though it was extreme.
2 days off between. It was extreme, but now 2 days off between every game except for 3 and 4. I mean, we haven't seen this Celtics team be able to get rest like that in a long time now.
Yeah. I will say that regarding he mentioned, we got to figure out a way to be out on those shooters. Like, basically, we were going to live with this, and it got us beat. That if those guys are going to go 15 for 23, so that's not, I think he's fair in saying that. If those guys are going to go 15 for 23, we got a big problem on our hands. Now, we got to do a better job of getting out on these shooters, but you're certainly not counting on that. Maybe they go 10.
But Draymond, like, there was a play in the fourth, Tatum, Rob Williams, side pick and roll, left side of the court. Draymond's like at the nail, ready to help in case Tatum goes middle. And then Tatum just flipped the ball to Horford at the top of the key, and Draymond didn't even close out. Like they didn't even respect the shot.
Yep.
So this is a dramatic change that you're talking about, right? Like, he wasn't even respecting the shot by Horford. It was just really strange. Just really strange.
Well, and you also had, there was a point where I'm watching all those wide open shots that the Celtics are draining from 3. And look, you can go back and watch, and I know there was a sentiment from some corners of Warriors fans like, yeah, well, it's because Dallas has to defend their very intricate offense and they're running around all the time. Like, Dallas got a million wide open threes too. Jason Kidd was saying it over and over again. Like, we got to make them. We have to make them. And that was one of the things. Like, you saw last night, they made them. They made those threes. They made them pay for that. And a 40-point quarter is outrageous. You score 40-point quarters. Come on, man. You're scoring 160 in the game. So I do buy that. If you're a Warriors fan, going, come on. Like, I don't care how good you think the Celtics are. It's a 40-point quarter, and like they all had the little fire going on. The NBA Jam, he's on fire. Like, as a team, they couldn't miss. It's one thing to get open threes. It's another to bury them. And they shot like 90% from three in the fourth quarter, right? And they were absolutely awesome.